Hello, Corey from the Bach Scholar YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. This is an interesting video I have for you in which I'm going to compare trills in Bach and Chopin. Bach's trills are what I refer to as Baroque trills, of course, because it's from the Baroque period, and Chopin's trills are what I would refer to as romantic trills. I mean, there might be a better term for that, but I just happen to call them romantic trills. So how does a Baroque trill differ from a romantic trill? Okay, let's look at this and let's choose some pieces that would demonstrate this most clearly. So I have three pieces here. I have one piece of Chopin, two pieces from Bach. I think this will be enough just for an introduction into the topic. So if you have the Chopin nocturnes, take out Opus 37, number 1 in G minor. That beautiful nocturne there. Also, if you have the aria to the Goldberg variations, take that out if you have the sheet music for that. And then one more piece, the G minor prelude from Book 1 of the Well-Tempered Clavier. If you have that beautiful G minor prelude. So let's look first at Bach's aria from the Goldberg variations. I'm going to play a few measures here. Okay. Now I'm going to play it another way, and I want to see if you can hear the difference. See if you can describe how I do it differently now. So, what was the difference? The difference was that the measure of the trill, measure 3, the trill, which goes for about 1.5 beats, was the first way I played it was what's called a measured trill. I was playing it exactly with 30-second notes in the right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and... So they're exact 30-second notes. The second way, I didn't measure them at all. I just sort of did whatever I wanted. So I started the trill a little slow. That's just a mordent right there, but the trill starts, it has this little hook on the top in Bach, and then it has the trill. What Bach and other Baroque influencers, I guess they weren't influencers, but Baroque influencers during Bach's time, have us believing that the trills should be measured, because you know those trill, the trill tables we always see all the time, they have them measured. So apparently, if that's correct, Bach wanted his trills measured. He probably didn't go. He probably did not play a romantic trill, just simply because the tables of ornaments during Bach's time, if you look at those, they're all measured. They all have like 30 seconds or 64th notes. So maybe in actual practice, performers played romantic trills, but maybe on paper, maybe they're measured. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know that, really, unless we have recordings from the 1700s. But the point here is not to say which one is correct. The point is just to try them out on each composer and see what results from that. So now, let's turn our attention to Chopin's Nocturne, and let's do the same thing as we did here. So, and it occurs in measure 8. So I'm going to play from measure 7. I'm going to play measure 7 and 8 and 9. So here we go. Okay, that was definitely a romantic trill. I started it a little slow, I got a little fast, then I sort of tapered it off at the end. I slowed it down at the end. Okay, now, just for fun, okay, that's the way I would do it. But just for fun, let's try it the Baroque way. So let's pretend that these two measures come out of a Bach prelude, or better yet, we'll pretend these come out of one of the Goldberg variations. If we're comparing, so that would be a measured trill in Chopin. Let me do that again. 1 and 2 and 1. Now I'm going to go back and do it the romantic way. 1 and 2 and. I like that better. I don't like the measured trill in Chopin. I don't think you do either. I don't think anybody does. Nobody plays measured trills in Chopin. Have you ever heard a measured trill in Chopin? I don't think I've ever heard one. But on the other hand, Bach is totally different. Bach works. Although a good pianist a good pianist who knows how to play trills, romantic trills well, will make it sound good in Bach. So if you listen to really good pianists do it in Bach, you'll think, oh, I love the romantic trill, that sounds great. Yes, but if you listen to another equally great pianist play Bach with measured trills, you might think, well, gosh, that sounds good too. Maybe I like that one better now. So it's hard to decide which one you like better. So just so we can solve that, I'm going to go back to the aria and try it again. I'm going to try it first with the measured trill, and then I'm going to do it with a romantic trill. Okay, now I'm going to do a romantic trill. I like the measured one better for Bach. Students have a much easier time playing measured trills than they do playing romantic trills, because I find that it's often difficult to get students to just loosen up and to not have to measure every single note of the trill. So it's a real skill. So what you should do is practice going back and forth between the two. See if you can find passages in Bach, in Chopin, which you can compare trills. And do what I did. Try to play Chopin like as if it were Bach, and then play Chopin as it were Chopin, and then play Bach as if it were written by Chopin, and then play Bach as it was written by Bach. It's a really interesting thing to do. It's an interesting experiment. Okay, now let's turn our attention to the third example here, the prelude in G minor from the Well-Tempered Clavier. And the trill is in the first measure. That's why I chose it here. We have... So when you look at this trill, there's no indication of 30-second notes or anything here. Bach just writes a whole note with a TR above it, a trill sign, and that's all he says. So how would you approach this trill? Should it be romantic or should it be Baroque? Should it be measured or should it be not measured? Well, let's try it both ways. Okay, I'm going to try it. Well, first of all, when we try it measured, we have to decide how do we want to measure it. One option, if you take that tempo, so we're assuming a nice sort of andante speed. The 8th note really is the beat here. That would be measured 2 trill notes for every 1 left-hand note. That would be 30-second notes in the right hand. I don't like that. That's, of course, I mean, that's good for a beginner who can't play fast trills yet, but that's too slow for trills. Now let's try to bump it up by 2. So now we're going to try 64th notes in the right hand. We're going to try 4 trill notes for every 1 left-hand note at the same tempo. That's a pretty fast trill. So it's a fast trill, but the tempo isn't really fast. The 8th note speed is actually pretty slow. I even slowed it down. So I had to slow it down a little just to get 4 notes in there for every left-hand note. I don't think that's right either. So if we're going to measure this trill, well, you can't do it in 2s. 2s is too slow. 4s is too fast. So that only means one thing, 3s. See, most pianists and most teachers forget about 3s with measuring trills. I prefer to play this kind of a trill measured. I play it measured, but it doesn't sound measured. But if you play it precisely, if you play 3 trill notes for every 1 left-hand note, that would be, I know I'll play it really slow. It's like, if you want to start from the upper note, it sounds like this. Now, the point here is not to talk about whether it should be played from the main note or the upper auxiliary note, which is A. That's not the point here. The point is just to show what it sounds like when you do it measured in triplets. So we're not measuring it in 2s or 4s, as most pianists like to think. We're measuring it in 3s. Now let me speed it up just a little bit and show you how 3s sound at more of the normal tempo. So I'm going to take this tempo. From the upper note. I don't know, I think I like playing from the G better, the first one. Anyway, that's, and to my ear, the trill sounds fast enough, but not too fast, and it's not too slow. So 2 notes. That's not fast enough. 4 notes is too fast. So that, just by logic, that means if you're going to measure it, you must do it in 3s. And it works perfectly that way if you do it correctly. So that sounds like this. And you can do little dynamic fluctuations on there too if you're playing it on a piano as opposed to a harpsichord, which is really nice. So you don't have to make it sound mechanical, I mean, a mechanical trill measured would sound like. If you just pound the trill out in triplets, that's what it sounds like. All you have to do is just lighten it up, play it in triplets. And to my ears, that's just the right speed for a trill for an andante. Because if you have a slower piece like an andante, you don't want you don't want trills that fast for that tempo, at least to my ears. It just doesn't sound right that way. Okay, one more thing. Now we're going to try a romantic trill for this. So let's pretend like this were written by Chopin. This isn't a Chopin nocturne, and we're going to try it now with more of a romantic trill. It's okay. Now I'm going to go back and do a measured trill with triplets. It sounds more, I don't know, it sounds more orderly or something. It's interesting. It's just interesting to compare them. So this is a really good passage here, that these couple measures here, to do a little experimentation of your own. So what I would do is take this and experiment with the trill. Try a 2-note trill, the slow kind. Try a 4-note trill, the one that's too fast. And then see if you can do the triplet trill, which I believe is the best way to do this one. And then experiment with a romantic trill and see if you can do that. And then do the opposite, like I said before. Take a Chopin piece like this nocturne, or maybe another piece that you know of, and do a little messing around, little experimentation with the trills, and see if you can turn Chopin into Bach and Bach into Chopin. So I hope you got something out of this video. It's very interesting. I've been thinking about this topic for a long time now. And if you want to take piano from me and learn from me, I would like to be your personal professor at the Well-Rounded Pianist. Go right over there and sign up, and I would love to teach you piano. I upload new material every week. So until we meet again, bye.